Hello, and welcome back to this week's episode of The Success Model. So, last week's episode was the first episode of the podcast, and I had so much feedback. So, I'm so grateful for everyone that took the time out to listen to the podcast. And the main feedback was that you were curious about the techniques and essentially how you are going to pivot from where you are now to your absolute dream life that until this point has felt hard, unrealistic, and it's kind of felt like it's running further and further away from you. And you're like, I'm doing everything, I'm working harder, I'm putting the hours in, I'm reading the books, I'm listening to the podcast, I'm doing the meditations, and why is it still not happening? And it's extremely frustrating. And when you start to understand the very essence that is your subconscious mind and our biological way of being and incorporating the energetics, everything starts to make sense, and you realize that you are actually the creator of your reality. So if there's something in your reality, I know it's a hard pill to swallow, but if there is something in your reality that you are not currently enjoying, then there is something within you that is attracting it. If it's in the sense of obviously your financial situation, like where you're living, your career, your job, your relationships, the boundaries, the deceit, like whatever it is that you are currently experiencing, there is an element of you that has contributed to that. So I know that can be hard to hear, especially if you are going through it at the moment. And I'm so sorry if you are. And I mean this with all the love in the world, but let's get into it and I'll shed some more light on that. So in order to go from where you are now to your ultimate dream life, so whether that be traveling and earning passively, which is obviously my reason for pivoting and transitioning into this career, like a more soul aligned career, or whether it be, like having that dream job, that dream salary, more holidays per year, like a schedule that enables you to work from home, having children, not having children, like whatever it is that you are trying to call in, then this is the technique and the steps that are going to enable you to make it happen. And when I say these are the steps, this doesn't mean that it's a one model fits all, because that's definitely not the case. Each and every one of us are so unique that can't possibly be the case. So when you see these things that'll say like, this is a 5-step process to manifest your dream life, your dream body, like whatever it is, just be wise, be cautious, because every single person is different. And the only thing that we can be sure of are the techniques that help us understand our beliefs, our energetic signature, and clear any obstacles that are getting in the way. So here's the techniques in the process. I've actually gone through this myself, which is why I'm able to create it and share with you guys. For those of you that don't know as well, in my human design, I'm a 3-5 profile type, which essentially means I have to experience the transformation and then mentor people through it faster. So I always wondered why life felt a bit harder for me. Like I would always have to go through situations, like I'd look around and everyone else looked like their life was just easy. It was normal, things were just smooth sailing. And for me, I was experiencing all of these like friendship breakdowns, like business issues and employees leaving and just betrayal, deceit, and just so many things. And I needed to strengthen up my boundaries. I needed to learn from every single thing. I needed to learn the key components to transform. And that's why I'm here today. So anyway, I digress. So let's get back into it. So first of all, you need to obviously acknowledge where you're at and what you need to let go of, because the version that you are now is not going to get you to that next place. So you need to surrender certain things. So how you do that is by getting clear on what you want, as if you could literally ask a genie in the bottle how to create your life. So if you could make that wish, you could speak to that genie and say, right, this is how I want my life. I want it like this tomorrow, knowing full well that it would happen. What would that dream life look like? So you want to get crystal clear on that. Write it down. And from that place, we are then going to understand the characteristics and the resources that that version of you already has. So what do they do every day? How does their day look? Maybe it looks like they take care of themselves first. Maybe they go to the gym. Maybe they don't go on their phone in the first few hours. Maybe they are working with a mentor. They're investing into their health. Like, what are they doing? Get crystal clear on that, and then tally that up with where you are right now, and anything that's blocking that from happening, you literally let go of. It's like, okay, that's my old way of being. I'm going to let go of that. It's not going to get me to my next level. So we're going to move on, let go of that habit and that way of being, and body as much as possible the 2.0 self. Okay, so that is going to make you an energetic match for your new reality, which essentially allows you to quantum leap into that version. So it sounds pretty simple. And knowing that it only takes 28 days on average to make a new habit stick, it makes you wonder, why do we struggle? Why do we struggle making such significant change? And it's the same reason that in January, the gyms are so busy, because everyone's like, right, now I'm going to take action. I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to create this next level self. And then by February, it's quiet. And it's the same reason that people don't achieve that shift, because one is relying on motivation, and two, people are waiting. When the key component here is that you don't need to wait. You can create your 2.0 self now. Every single second, you get the choice to change. Don't wait until Monday. Don't wait until tomorrow. Don't wait until whenever. If you're not liking your reality right now, as you listen to this podcast, you can go and get a piece of paper and start writing down what your dream life is, what characteristic that version embodies, and just get clear on that. But then there's also another key component, because if it was that easy, everyone would do it. Nobody would be struggling. Nobody would be settling for a life that they knew they were playing small by staying within. And that is because your subconscious mind, also known as your belief system, cannot be outrun. And combine that with your reticular activating system, which is the part of your mind that whenever you put anything into it, so like I was to say, focus on a red car, then in that day, you would see red cars everywhere. Or you focus in on something that you wanting to attract. Maybe you want a new car, a new Mercedes, Porsche, whatever it is. Then you would start seeing that model of the car everywhere because of the reticular activating system. So your subconscious mind and your reticular activating system will not let you get anything that you don't believe in. So this is what the law of assumption is also based upon. You don't get what you want, you get what you subconsciously believe. And subconsciously is the key here, because generally the beliefs that were stored and created within the subconscious mind happen between the ages of 0 to 7. And they can even be passed down by up to 14 generations of DNA. And they're subconscious, meaning you are not even aware of these beliefs. They don't even make logical sense sometimes. I know I cleared a belief that was, the root cause was when I was 2. And it was a fear of abandonment. And it was when my brother was born. And my body had held on to this emotion as if I was literally going to get abandoned. Despite feeling supported by my family, knowing full well that that wasn't the case, my 2-year-old perception of that situation stayed with me until I cleared it literally just last year. So that's how powerful it is. So it also correlates to the Hermetic and universal law of correspondence, which states, as above, so below, and as within, so without. So your external reality is only a reflection of what you believe to be possible within. So again, if you're not experiencing what you want to experience, there is a belief within you that is contributing to that experience, as hard as that is to understand. Okay, so now we're going to get into how do you easily and effortlessly get to change? So we've got the facts, we understand how the body and mind work, but how are we going to easily and effortlessly get to change sustainably? And that's literally by recoding any beliefs that aren't aligned with your goals. And we do this through NLP techniques and focusing on your energetics. So we want to be clearing any of the top 6 heavy emotions that you notice you experience on a regular basis, such as guilt, shame, sadness, anger, anxiety, fear. And this is important because your most dominant emotional cycle dictates your energetic signature, which only allows you to attract equal experiences, people, and opportunities. And behind that emotion is an experience or a belief that you've held on to since that very moment, the root cause, which dictates your behavior and will also enable you to attract similar experiences, showing up as cycles and patterns with your financial situation, your relationships, your self-love, your career, because all of those aspects are connected and derived from your inner beliefs. So now we know why it's important, but how do we actually do it? So this is some of the feedback that I got from last week. Like, you're like, yeah, it makes so much sense, but how is it relevant? Like, you want to know how you can use it. What is the benefit of clearing this? And the benefit is to clear the root cause and the old way of being, because then it literally, imagine like a cork, and this cork has loads of strings coming off it, and each string is a belief that is not authentic to your goal. It's not authentic to your true self. So essentially it's like programming of those around you, your environment, experiences that you've been through that weren't aligned, that made you feel less than you actually are. So those feelings create beliefs. And imagine that cork has got all of these programmed ways of being in it. So it's like, oh, that experience made me feel unworthy. That one made me feel like it's not possible. That one knocked my confidence. That one made me feel guilty for not being enough. That one made me feel shame or embarrassment because I did whatever. Like, all of these little strings pull that cork down. So when you use the NLP techniques, such as neural energetic encoding, submodalities, hypnosis, you basically are clipping away those strings. So the cork, which essentially represents you, like your most authentic self, has no other option but to rise. And that is your energetic signature rising. And for those of you that don't know, like when your energetic consciousness rises, you are basically back at your birthright, which is literally to manifest effortlessly, to receive effortlessly. You've heard the affirmation, like, abundance is my birthright. And you're just like, but how? Like, that doesn't make sense when you've got so many limiting beliefs. But that is the truth. Like, you as a being are so pure, so capable, so powerful. We just need to get rid of all of the programming that has told you differently. So to go into the techniques, the neural energetic encoding essentially is where we find how your mind stores your past, present, and future. So we're speaking directly to the subconscious mind. You're in a relaxed theta state of being, so you're fully conscious. And we literally just find out where the root cause of this emotion or this limiting belief actually was. And it's wild what comes up. Like, you're not even consciously aware of it. That's why we're speaking to your subconscious. So I'll say, like, is it aligned and congruent with your unconscious mind for you to release this fear and for you to consciously be aware of it now and get approval? And then we'll say, when was the root cause of this event? Then ask a series of questions. It could be after your birth, before your birth, in the womb, in a past life, generational, and it'll take us to that moment in time. Then from that moment in time, you'll be able to see the experience that played out, that created that belief. Then we clear that and clear it from every single event where that was ever evident. Submodalities is another technique. So this is where we can swap out different ways of being. So everyone's mind stores every experience or even habits differently. So it can be in color, it can be black and white, it can be in motion, it can be still, it can be close to you, far away from you, in the left, in the right, lower down. Like there's loads of different positions. So we find out how your mind stores that encoding of something and switch it out for the encoding of something else. Or we can even do a single belief change. So if you've got a belief that working hard or like success means that you have to work hard. Or I was working with a client a few months ago and she was a small business owner. She was really busy and she wanted to take her business to the next level. But she had this belief that she didn't have a business mind and she wasn't really capable of being a business owner despite already being in that position. So this single belief was keeping her capped at like a 2K income per month. And it was just making her feel unfulfilled, unworthy. And I identified this in the first session that we had together. And she was like, how is that a problem? I'm like, because it's creating a ceiling and it's not the truth. So we cleared that belief. And 5 weeks later, she had doubled her income and she'd been on 2 holidays when she hadn't been on holiday for 2 years. She also carved out an extra day and a half in her weekly schedule so we could prioritize self-care, fitness, and just time for her. And there was other things that we did, such as emotional freedom technique, to focus on her overwhelm and frustration that kept coming up. And we also did a parts integration because there was inner conflict there around what she believed was possible for her. But those 3 things created that significant change within that short space of time, like 5 weeks. It's wild. So that's the kind of transformation that you can expect. Like it can happen so quickly when we clear the root cause of that very belief that's holding you back. So once we've cleared out the root causes, also known as the programming of the old ways of being, next is to program in using EFT, self-concept work, and hypnosis, a new way of being. So this changes your energetic signature, creates new neural pathways, and essentially creates a new way of being, which is therefore going to create your new 2.0 reality. And that's literally it. We identify the beliefs, that's what's holding you back, clear the belief like we're chopping down a tree, pulling it from the root, it's never going to grow back, and then we're then planting a new, abundant, beautiful seed that is in alignment with the visual that you've got of that garden. That's as simple as it gets. And I know it might seem a lot, but it all can be condensed into literally a few hours a day or a few hours a week to start with. But over time, it'll completely be your way of being. So you won't be in the hustle, survival, or chaotic state that you are used to being in, because we're programming that out. Like that is the survival state where your nervous system doesn't feel safe. And that's why EFT is so vital, because EFT actually works with your nervous system to regulate it, to bring it into a parasympathetic state so your body can function completely as it should, without any resistance to what you want to receive. Amazing. So I hope that has given you so much insight into what I actually do and how we can take you from where you are now to where you want to be. I have loved sharing this information with you. And if you have any questions, make sure to reach out to me on Instagram. And thank you so much for listening. And I can't wait to see you next week.